So I've been doing swimwear for a little bit over 20 years. And I've worked for major corporations in swimwear on the West Coast. And for the last 10 years, I've been working for East Coast companies. So I've been flying back and forth to New York for the last 10 years, working for New York companies. There's about, 3 major swimwear corporations in Los Angeles and about 3 in New York. So I do swimwear for good, better, best. Anything from kids, juniors to Missy to plus size, from Costco to Saks Fifth Avenue to Nordstrom's to Kohl's. And that's it. I think just 100% all the way around for swimwear, from a $19 suit to a $220 suit, from design to manufacturing to sales, from surf brands. So that's it. I'm still doing it. I'm currently have decided with the shakeup that's happening, and it's a very unusual shakeup. It's going to be good for a lot of us. I've decided to kind of go back out on my own for a little bit and redesign and do some consulting and start a brand on my own. And that's kind of what I'm doing at this time. Is it, I hope I don't pronounce it right, Kertu, how do you say it?
Kertu, yes, you got it.
Yeah, like I was born with the corporate, and I was independent for about 8 years, and I really enjoyed it. It's a little bit of a change because you're by yourself, you have to motivate yourself. But if you have the energy to do it, you can do it. And it's exciting. It's exciting when you finally...
It's like you're learning something different too. It's not the same wheel you're running,
Yeah, so I like to connect people, and I've been fortunate to know Daniela, and we run into each other at so many events, and it's been great. I've had a great career. I love what I do. There's been a big disturbance in the apparel industry, but I'm not afraid of the change. I'm really embracing it and moving forward with new opportunities that are ahead of us. So I'm glad that Daniela set up this meeting, because I think this is the most important thing you can do in this time, is meet people, talk to people, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danielle.
Sure. I wanted to keep it pure. I was like, this is just me sending you guys little personal emails, just designers. I didn't invite I was like, pure design talk.
Community.
Yeah. And all of you guys, I think, I'm gonna go around. I hate to interject too much, but everybody kind of has some corporate, and then they want to do their things on their own. I know, Galina, you built your business, and Inga, you're building your business. So I really think it's and I love your optimism, Anna, because we're all kind of tired, but I love that optimism. Really is, this is a great. You're in a great space. I love hearing that right now. All right, who's next? Inga, you go. On my screen, you're next.
Inga Goodman. I have a brand of my own. To keep it short, it's an eclectic ready-to-wear for women. No one knows about. The challenge here is I never worked for a big corporation. Perhaps it was a mistake. I started on my own immediately after design school. And the main challenge is no one tells you what to do, just like Anna. You might have an energy, but you also have to have a plan for every day, a goal. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? You don't have a boss, you have to be your own boss. That's a main challenge. Maybe I'll go work for someone now. Daniela, you might connect me. Yeah, you might connect me with, big corporation at this point.
Yeah, it's wow.
But I also think I'm sorry, I'm jumping in here too, but because everything is so shaken up, and definitely fashion industry is taking probably the biggest hit in some sense, because that's the first thing people will say, okay, I'm gonna cut it and save money, right? But it makes us rethink it, and so I'm thinking if starting kind of you knew and starting kind of from the beginning, it might be good, because you don't have that, you're not stuck in a certain box that you came from, right? You can maybe kind of fit in and go with it much easier. I was just talking to my sister-in-law who just graduated from university, and she's also like, these kids don't, you know, like their thought like, okay, I'm going to graduate, have a job, and go on, like certain ideas when they graduate. But now it's so different. But it's not a scary thing, because I think it's an exciting, because it's a beginning of something new. And maybe for some of us that have been in the industry for a while and used to doing certain things certain way, it might be a little bit more challenging to relearn and kind of start from, I don't know from where, right? But if you don't kind of have that kind of load from the past, you can do anything. And if you just, I don't know, I feel like
I know what you're saying. It's like being a child, you know, they're more successful because they don't have any past experience. They don't compare back and forth. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? In kids' mind, they're doing it right. You know, there is one and only way. You know,
because when you're even reading all these big companies, they have to rethink their strategies. It's not what they used to do before.
I think, not to interrupt you, I think we as individuals here are in a better position. Like, I have left the corporate ladder probably like 6 months ago, and I was in a large company, East Coast, West Coast company. You know, we shipped all over. There's probably 600 people. It was a grind. It was stressful. Collections. You know, I designed 5 brands in 2 years. They're going to have trouble pivoting and changing to the new. It's better to be where we are. 100%. Because we have less to worry about of the employees and how we're going to ship. It's going to be a big problem. And not to go on forever, but before I jumped on this call, I was very lucky to just jump on the Instagram, and Sarah Blakely was doing a live Forbes interview, and I watched about a half hour. And if you guys can go on and find it after this, YouTube, she just did it with Forbes. It was, I mean, for Inga, Sarah Blakely had no training. Hello, you have to watch her interview. It is so inspiration. You will just be like, oh my gosh, she totally relates to you. And I suggest you watch it, because you know what? It's fine that you don't have any corporate. I mean, we'd be happy to help you with anything you need to know, or guide you or introduce you to. You're absolutely fine.
I guess the bigger the corporation is, the bigger chance to collapse. You know, like all these big corps, they're always worried about, you know, like going down, you know, because you can just like collapse, you know, different days. When you're by yourself, the chances are that you stay in business. As long as you keep going, you never fail, you know, as long as you keep going, keep trying.
I just want to pause and give Galina her moment, because this is what's really amazing is I could talk about corporate versus being by yourself, but I think Galina, you built your own brand, and now you're a corporate brand. So I want to give you your moment to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Daniela. Hi, girls. Hi, Inga. Well, I come from a very big corporate world. I grew up in New York and studied at FIT, and only worked in corporate for about 11 years. I ran the Cheryl Teague's division for Sears. I designed the first Marc Jacobs collection that he did of sweaters. And I worked for Michael Kors as a spit model years back, way back in the 80s. So I come from corporate completely. I moved to LA in late 80s to head up and be the creative director of Carol Little for Saint-Tropez West. So everybody knows Carol Little. Back in the days, it was a $400 million company, and I ran their $185 million division for 7.5 years. So I was all about, I mean, I was totally a college grad who only wanted to go up the corporate ladder. And this is how I knew, this is what my mentors in New York taught me, that unless you learn on other people's mistakes, and I teach a lot of classes and I teach a lot of startups, and I actually tell everybody, go work for someone. I discourage everyone, and I know Inga for quite a while now, and I said the same thing to her. I actually said, go work for someone, make mistakes on other people's dime, make mistakes on that, because you are going to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We're human, you know, and even while being creative, you make mistakes, making decisions, you make mistakes, you know, and it's a lot easier when you're making it on somebody else's dime and not your own, and not your family's money or whatever it is. It took me a long time to make this decision. It wasn't even my decision. It was my husband. At the time, we weren't even married, and he sold his car. He couldn't figure out why I was getting paid so much money, and he believed in me probably more than I believed in myself about starting a company. But I did work for a smaller company right before starting our own business, which was Bizu Bizu, which at the time was relatively considered small, but not that small, because their volume was about 17 million, and they were very hot brand. But I learned a lot because Michelle Bobat, Mark and Michelle, who were my bosses, and she's my idol and my mentor to this day. I go to her yoga class on Robertson, actually. She's an incredible, she became an incredible yoga instructor and opened up a beautiful yoga studio. And till this day, I tell her, Michelle, if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for Carol, of course, and my corporate training, but Michelle gave me the reins. So it's very important to have that balance of both the knowledge of the corporate structure, because you need to know how the machine works. If you want to work with the big boys, you got to know how they play. You know, if you ever want to sell a Nordstrom, or if you ever want to sell a Neiman's, or if you ever want to sell any of these guys, you want to know how they operate, how they require margin agreements, markdown money, and allowances, and it's a big headache. If you want to be a small business, which it's great, you know, or if you want to have a fun fashion hobby, which is wonderful as long as you keep maintaining it, that's also great. I mean, there's just a lot of differences between something that you consider a business and you depend on it to feed your family, and you build it as a business and maybe with intentions to one day sell a brand and retire, or, you know, even leave it for your kids or whatever, or do you want this as a passion project? And everything is always commendable, I think, you know, and you can be inspired. You know, a lot of us women, we're so driven, and we're driven by different things in life and different points in our lives. And, you know, I wanted to also at that point in my life see how, you know, what if I would have never started my own company, would I regret it for the rest of my life? Would I say, oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda, and then end up, you know, at 60 working for somebody 55 or whatever, and then they had cutbacks, and all of a sudden I have a lot of friends in New York currently that are now unemployed and are unemployable because A, they are kind of thinking of starting their own business, but they don't have the funding. B, they're at that age where they've got all the experience, but they're overqualified to be a creative director for a young, hot brand, because those companies are hiring, you know, hot and wild 35-year-olds. So there's a big dilemma, you know, of where do you go? What do you do? I think the most important thing is to remember to be flexible. And the way the industry is changing and has changed and is going to change, I think we all have to change right now. Our mentality in fashion has to change. There's no more fashion. I mean, I don't really care what anybody says. When's going to be the next time when anybody wants to wear a sequins dress? You know, who gives a crap? You know, we're all so comfortable working from home. Anything, the most fashionable thing right now that I'm thinking of creating is like the next luxe sweatsuit, you know, or something like that, you know, or a fun little duster that you could throw on for a Zoom session. People are getting comfortable at working at home also, which I think is also going to affect a lot of the careers of a lot of women shopping for fashion or shopping for career dressing, or the way we all live and dress for work. You know, that whole aspect has changed again as well. You know, I mean, what Amazon started doing to the fashion industry, COVID-19 finished. So if you think in that perspective, it's kind of, it might be sad, but it's not sad. It's here an opportunity for all of us to reinvent the wheel once again. And there's always opportunities as long as we are all flexible and we are able to seize them. I mean, I retooled my fashion company in literally 2 days when we got shut, when the businesses were told to shut down, you know, and we had payroll and we had employees, and, you know, panic, and all the boxes came back, even of factor approved accounts, and we were sitting on $30,000 worth of returned orders because the stores were shut down. You know, panic strikes you and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do next? We are sitting on inventory that's been produced for March and April deliveries, which who knows when we're going to be able to sell. But I didn't panic. I retooled. I got on the horn with the team from Reformation. I emailed about 50 different, you know, including our council, including Governor Newsom, including all the people on the government circuit of being able to do PPE, of you know, we're a factory, we've got social distancing, offering all of our services to everybody I could, reaching out, started to make masks. I mean, we are surviving and thriving right now as a business, not on anything that has to do with fashion. Well, fashion masks is what's feeding and fueling our company and able to feed our employees, and PPE. I completely did a turnaround because you can't lose time. And if you don't do this for your business, and I care very much about my employees who have been with me, some of them for 20 years, you know, some of them for 15 years, they have small children, their families to feed, and that employment is not give them enough. The most interesting thing is people don't want to be unemployed.
Yeah.
People want to work. People, you know, people want to be productive. And just, you know, life gives us lemons. What do? We make lemonade. So we turn around and did a complete switcheroo. Literally in less than a week, I had 3 of my regular stores, one of them who I'm very close with, the buyer and the owner, it's a boutique in Houston, and she said, Galina, you have all these beautiful fabrics, why didn't you just make some masks out of them? And I literally was sitting on yards and rolls of beautiful, you know, Versace inspired, Gucci inspired knit fabrics, animal prints, satin, stretch, and I just went to work. I literally made 12 samples that day, photographed them on mannequins, took them home, photographed them on myself. In 3 days, the line was born. Within 4 days, we got orders. You know, we've sold over probably 20,000 masks up to now. And
wow.
It's just growing and keeps going and keeps evolving. And that was just one aspect of it. And the other one is the outreach to all the hospitals, to small hospitals, to across the country, to everybody that, like, I could think of. People from Governor Newsom's office and from Garcetti's office sent me lists, emailed me these huge lists of people to contact everywhere from Nashville to Nebraska, retirement centers. You know, we're making washable and disposable gowns right now. I'm just put a package together that I sent to Raleigh, North Carolina, for a elderly center, you know, a facility, a nursing home, where they might be ordering like 200 of them. And the good thing is it's all made in USA. That's our big promotion. That's our big push. Not to buy it from stinky China, not to buy anything from stinky China anymore, to buy everything from us.
Or India.
And this is what we're doing right now. And this is, again, it's up to each one of us and our ingenuity and our determination. And I think we as women have it within us. My husband was like in pieces. He's my business partner. He was like, what are you doing? Why are you running to the office? Why we never really stop. What are you on the phone all day long? What are you sending these emails? He was very disheartened, especially the first like 2 weeks of the shutdowns, and seeing all the boxes of being returned, all the boxes of shipments that were factor approved, and we thought, okay, you know, the store's going to get it, great, you know, because it's the factor approved it. But the stores were, a lot of them on the East Coast had already been shut down, and we didn't even know. So it's just up to us. It's up to us to take the reins of whatever it is and twist it, turn it, and make it work. You know, fashion is going to be a long way from now before people are going to go out there and shop the way they shopped even in February, because sales were great in February, you know, overall sales. nationwide sales in this country were phenomenal. Stores like Dillard's were doing really well. Their sales were up. You know, their projections for buying were great because they shared them with me because we had orders going forward with them. But at this point, who knows? So I just think we can all be inventive, and we could all take what's going on right now and use our talent, use our knowledge, use our contacts, and put it all to, you know, resourcefulness and other use. And I think when push comes to shove, you know, our parents, I mean, I come from like Russian stock where people survived World War II. So it's like, this is nothing, you know, it's just COVID. So we have to all do, and Inga can relate to that, you know, we just have to reinvent.
Please, lack of that, we're coming from a lack of everything.
So I just, you know, and I'm here and like I mentor a lot of young people who think, oh, just because I want to do this, I can do this, but it's not that easy, and you have to be flexible. I think flexibility and humility is really the most important thing that we can learn through life of, you know, what we do and how we move forward, because you just don't know what tomorrow is going to hold for any of us. And, you know, if we think, oh, you know, everything is, I mean, we want to be hopeful, but at the same time, we want to be realistic. So I'm all about reality, and reality is, at this point, I'd rather be making hospital gowns, because one of our contractors just got a 2 million piece order for hospital gowns, and they're seeking for people to help them produce it. So
the hospital gowns, are they going US? Yes.
All US, all made in US. We're making them right here in downtown. We're making them for pennies. We're actually making, you know, barely making very little on volume, but it's the volume. And also the contractors are all very flexible and willing to do whatever it takes, even if they're only making a quarter, even if they're only making 50 cents, you know, but it's all made in USA. And the turn time, I can turn these things in a week. Yes. You know, I can turn 10,000 every week. So even if I make 50 cents on a piece, it's still a 5,000 profit to my company. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole other way of thinking, but and really, honestly, it's nothing to do with fashion, but you know, it alleviates all of us from pressure of thinking what's the next trend, or what's she going to want to buy next, or what, you know, all of that. You know, my next trend, I'm thinking, what next mask am I going to make? Now I'm making a patent. We created these drinking masks that people can put a straw in and go into a bar with the mask. So, and I'm working with a patent lawyer on getting a patent on it. You guys, I think creative people can do anything, you know.
I know. This is amazing. Yeah, I'd love to hear what everybody, whether you want to share advice or other opinions, because Galina, that you're like, you're on it. You're like, you've totally flipped your business. You're like, I'll worry about fashion when fashion's ready, but let me just focus on what we need right now. This is really fascinating.
Couple of remarks. Yes, Galina is doing the right thing. I also heard that schools are ordering masks right now. I couldn't understand they order for their staff only, or for the students when students are ready to come back. So schools, it's another market for you guys. You know,
Inga, by the way, you have beautiful cotton fabrics, and I could see all of them right there under your table, sitting there doing nothing. So I would suggest that you turn those things around and do something with them, even on your website. Trust me, people thought I was crazy. My salespeople thought I was insane. I had to beg my salespeople, literally. I put a lookbook together and had to beg them to do an email blast to their own boutiques. They were like, well, this is a very difficult and sensitive time. We don't want to pressure our stores with product that, you know, and it's insanity. I said, just send a blast to 10 stores and see the reaction. So my Florida reps, who have now probably sold, I don't know, close to 10,000 masks just themselves in this, Florida area, and only maybe between, I don't know, 20 of their stores, 15 of their accounts, because everybody's refilling and reordering almost every week. They're shocked themselves. They're just, they're shocked and surprised, and they're like, we didn't think that this would happen. And I said, you never know what can happen unless you try. And in this time, seeing, like, my contractors would come to me and say, oh, I'm so busy right now, I can't do your robes or your masks because I'm sewing 120,000 masks for somebody. And I'm like, hell, who's getting this orders? Who is ordering 120,000 masks? Just think about it. 120,000 pieces of something, even if you make 50 cents on it or 25 cents on it, or God forbid you make $1 on it, that's your pure profit. And that's a kind of profit that you'll never see from the fashion industry or from any other, quick right now in our garment industry. Because when we make our garments, by the time we finish production, even though we kind of, we have our strict guidelines and our cost sheets and everything, do we really know by the time it's all said and done what our true profit margins are? At the end of the day, it's all very fluid.
If you guys read that article, I think it's from yesterday or Sunday, LA Times, people talk about wardrobes of masks. No one has one mask. We're styling right now with masks, according to season.
Yeah, it's the new iPhone cover. I mean, it's the new phone cover. It's the new accessory. And
something new to care for. It's like a new hobby or a new pet or something. I wash them and I hang them. People talk, it's a whole new experience. People talk about how they treat their masks.
Inga, what are you doing with all those fabrics?
Nothing. Do you want some?
Nothing? And they're cotton. You should be.
Cotton to will and jersey.
The other thing
I think you should
I'm not
implement them.
With masks. No, if I do something, it's gonna be something else, another outrageous thing or something.
The other, in talking to a bunch of various different designers, the other thing that I found interesting too was like swimsuits are making a big rise now because people are home now and we're thinking of the summertime. So somebody else pointed out, what if you could wear a swimsuit in 3 ways? Like, what I might be wearing a swimsuit right now on a Zoom call and then just like go dive in the pool, like things that are just home.
Well, swimsuits could be bodysuits, because all swimsuits you could wear as bodysuits, right, Anna? You could do your swimsuits where they have multiple functionality, and make a matching headscarf that could also serve as a mask.
Yeah, that's been a subject. Actually, I heard it 3 times yesterday on the phone. The matching mask, and it's a great idea. It's an absolute great idea, and it probably will happen. I guarantee you. I have a client I'm working with that we will probably provide him and tag him on. I mean, it's interesting.
I'll find
it's already happening. People are selling. Yeah. We're making cheetah joggers with the matching cheetah mask. It's already happening. People in Florida are dressing that way.
Yeah. In this case, the mask needs to cover everything, your head, your face, so there is no any kind of lines. In fact, there is video about one stretchy mask that folds like 3 ways, bam, 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 and here you are. I'll look for it. I'll send it to you guys.
There's all types. There's all types. You could do the whole head covering like you're talking about, Inga, or just the mouth one. I mean, my sister lives in South America. She's been there for 20 years in Peru, and I talk to her all the time, and they're quarantined down there. She wraps herself when she goes to the grocery store. I always laugh at her. I said, what are you doing? She wraps her head. She puts her scarves on. So she even gets more covered than we do. So there's a bunch of different ones. Yeah.
Well, the statistics from Iran that, how they had very, very high deaths. The death rates in the beginning were very high, but they were 95 or 98% men. And they're saying that the reason why is because the women are completely covered. And they all have their faces and their mouths and most of their face, their noses are covered at all times. So that piece of sheeting or whatever fabrics they were wearing over their face helped protect probably and save their lives. And it's not something that's going to be, but I was just reading somebody sent me this article and I thought, wow, it's very interesting. Somebody just sent me something where there's a mask and a scarf attached. where women like in this, like we all want to protect our necks.
I agree.
So
Or
it's
summer mask. Yes, summer mask, because you're not comfortable in your regular, whatever was your winter style.
I can barely breathe in mine. I love to take mine off.
They ask for air in 10 minutes.
you can order them. You can order ours. We have organic cotton for summer that are really, really nice. They're breathable. Our stretch satin ones. I know Daniela did a little thing on, we have them on a website, singlela.com, and Daniela did a little promo for us, and they're great. We have such a variety, and I'm just adding, literally every week I'm adding something new. I'm looking through what my fabrics are. It's helped me with my fabric inventory tremendously. We're doing limited runs on things which we only have maybe a small roll of, and just saying limited edition.
And are you selling them online, or are you just selling them through
Yeah, so we're selling them on our own website, which is singlela.com. Individually.
Use my code. You can use my code Looking Good.
And Daniela,
Alina will give it to you.
and we have a code for Daniela.
If you guys ever have affiliate codes, and I'm happy to give you guys a boost. That's what I like, and Galina, I'm going to do some more boosting.
Yeah. And we're just connect with Gianni, because I am so technically challenged. I don't know anything about this, but mainly where we've been selling is putting these lookbooks together and giving them to my salespeople across the country, and having my salespeople send them to sell them on their websites, wholesale through their store relationships, and also just outreach, just personal outreach to everybody that I know, and I'm doing it in small increments, because also I'm kind of just running around crazy with all this other stuff. But I think it's a project that started out as just a survival project, but I think it's going to go on for a while. We're not going to stop wearing them. In fact, more and more states are making it kind of a mandatory. More and more services, like you can't go into a post office without wearing a face covering. Can't go into a supermarket, restaurant, like anytime we all go outside, we have to wear a mask. So it's become our daily routine, and people, they wash one, they want to wear another. So at any given time, somebody can buy 2 or 3, and they're inexpensive enough that it's not like a huge investment, but they're fun and fashionable.
And
so it's
spend money, but they cannot afford $200 fashion. They would be spending on masks. It's an easy fix. $10 and a new mask. Feel good for a moment. That's all they can.
Jewelry on your face.
Yeah.
No more lipstick. Just mask.
I put lipstick on yesterday before I went to the grocery store. I put it on, and then I went, oh shoot, I gotta put my mask on.
Yeah, I know. We forgot about all the lipsticks. It's just chapstick now. I took my daughter's chapstick, and it's all about. I put on lipstick right now for you guys. But definitely, I'm here, you guys. If you need anything, as far as I have a great contact with fabric sourcing, production. We do a lot of small run production runs for companies. Also, I have great contacts with factories and small contract. We do all our in-house cutting, everything, like I said, from underwear to swim to t-shirts to dresses. So if anybody needs help with getting anything executed, Daniela has my info. More than happy to assist and help. And Inga, are you selling things on your website right now?
No, I get about 10 visits a day, which was a big deal to drive all the traffic. Like, to me, it's major right now. Daily, I get about 10 on average, sometimes 9, sometimes 14, which is huge, because for 2 years, no one even heard of, or knew of me. So that's a new milestone for me.
And how are you driving? What are you doing about driving traffic to your site?
Mostly blogs. It's a huge way of doing this. Don't forget, the guy says, you sell your mask, don't forget about Etsy, because I heard the statistic, millions and millions of people are still hitting Etsy while they're looking for masks, and Pinterest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing Pinterest, and we're just posting on Pinterest and linking it to our website.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started, my daughter actually started the Etsy website for us, but we didn't finish it. I'm looking to collaborate with anyone who knows anyone on Etsy. So Daniela, if anybody that you know that's running Poshmark or Etsy sites, please, connect me with them. It's just, for me, at this point, would be easier to do subcontract. I'm doing a lot of private labels. So if you guys have time, check out jessicarich.com. It's a website of a local shoe designer, and I'm making masks for her. So all of her masks are basically my masks with her label on them. And I just partnered up with Lisa Klein. I know some of you might remember Lisa Klein. She had a beautiful store on Robertson.
Mm-hmm.
So Lisa and I just reconnected. She reached out to me about hospital gowns, because she's also moved her career over to doing PPE sales for, trying to get contracts. And at the same time, I was like, Lisa, you have all those labels of all your flapper girls, the trucker girls that she was famous for. So we just made, she's relaunching her website, I think this week or next week. And we made really cool masks, like black lace with satin lining with her label on it, with Lisa Klein. Yeah. So it's just, how do you, with the product that you have, create some sort of a revenue at a time when, it's a really difficult time right now for people to think about anything or spending money. People are really watching their budgets. Let's face it, so many people are out of work, and whatever money we get, right now we're spending on food, because our family, I have a house full of, my kids are all home, so my food budget has tripled. Everybody loves to eat. All we do is eat and drink. Our liquor budget and our food budget has just gone through the roof.
That's funny, because we used to eat out all the time. So I'm like, wow, I feel like we in volume food is more, but cost is less, because we're
yes. Yeah. And that's another thing that I think people, after the pandemic, and even as the restaurants opening, people do want to go out, but people have really enjoyed cooking and family time and spending time together, that it's also been kind of a valuable light at the end of the tunnel throughout, this pandemic.
I have a question for you, Galina. I've been watching so many webinars, and I've been in contact with everyone from my fabric vendors in, Brazil and Italy and Paris. I've been talking to everybody. Everyone's just kind of connecting and coming together. You can't even believe it, CEOs. Yeah. And I've been trying to get like the top 10 takeaways of words that are being used. Of course, we're going to go through a hard time right now, but I think it will be good for some people. Some people will come out of this and it will be okay. The big changes, I think, I was manufacturing in Los Angeles, Mexico, and for the last 10 years, I was over in China, right? And I have some customers that I have to go in China, but I honestly want to pull the plug from production in China.
So does everybody, I think. Yeah.
As hard as it's going to be to make those margins, I'm going to have to do it. But the takeaway for me that I'm learning, obviously, from some of the brands, is we're going to be quicker to turn if we manufacture in the US. We're going to do small lots, which people are not going to be wanting, but I'm going to do it. It's going to be harder business because I'm going to have to stay on top of it. Instead of cutting, 1,200, 3,000 units and like letting it take its toll for the couple months, I'm going to have to watch my business every 2 to 3 months. It's going to be like birthing a new apparel business from day one. If you're big or you're little, that's the way you have to watch your business these days going forward. It's kind of exciting. I don't know what's going to go away and what's going to stay. Did you hear that one company that just, people are filing bankruptcy right and left? Like the people that, it's a big name. I read it yesterday. They manufacture for Tommy Hilfiger, Under Armour, Spider, and they just filed chapter.
Wow.
So many.
So they're actually a domestic manufacturing company or an import?
They're a company that licenses out and manufactures for all the brands, you know. I think the big guys are going to get hit hard. I just left a big company in New York that manufactures. We did swimwear for Nautica, Tahari, Spider, Sperry, Avec La Fille, Joyce Azria. Did I miss one? Tahari, Spider, Sperry, Tahari, Nautica. And it's going to be hard for those guys to remain with the big business because the big business isn't going to be there anymore. It really is. People aren't going to run out and go shopping.
Yeah.
Brands.
Well, I mean, I'm talking to a lot of, I had a big, long conversation with Directives West yesterday with Shelda, who's one of my contacts. And, you know, they are constantly on the phone. They're all working from home. And I was on the phone with her literally for probably close to an hour and a half, discussing all kinds of business because they have recently brought us Dillard's as a client, brought Dillard's back, and there was a lot of excitement. Excuse me, sorry. But unfortunately, COVID hit. So we were just in the midst of shipping our big first order. Unfortunately for us, you know, because we have invested a lot of money just in the EDI and logistics alone, because these guys require, and I don't have to tell you, Anna, I mean, you know what the requirements are for all of these guys. So it's detrimental. We lost, you know, I'm very disheartened. Of course, it's no fault to anybody, and the buyers are sweethearts, and the Arizona divisional is great. And you know, everybody, including management, have been super supportive. But of course, we're like, you know, the last guy to come on the train is the first guy to get kicked off the train. So, you know, we got a lot of cancellations on styles that I'm going to be sitting on right now. I'm trying to figure out who I'm going to sell them to. And it's very disheartening. It's a huge blow to the bottom line. But it's, I don't know what the future of fashion, and like you said, you talk to everybody in the industry, and I talk to people, they do have hopes for holiday, you know, conservative hopes that go out there, because by then they're hoping, you know, October, November, December, that a lot of restaurants would already be open. They're hoping that she will want to put something sparkly on. I mean, we're talking about the consumer, obviously, you know, how much traffic there is back at the stores is very minimal. People are still kind of just venturing. The internet sales for everyone is huge.
I mean, what they're saying really is going to be major, is going to be direct to consumer. There's a lot of stores that, you know, companies want to sell directly rather than wholesaling, and also a lot of companies will cut out the middlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
The words that I've heard from a lot of people that I think that I keep constantly hearing is my friends that sell, they're higher end salespeople. They sell anything over $200, and they do boutiques, and they don't even want to sell anything from China. They have brands from Turkey and, you know, Brazil. She said that everything, the brands that she has that are made in LA are selling, and they want them. The other brand she's struggling with. That was one point I've heard from several people. The second thing I've heard from several people is exactly what Galina said. There is October, November, December, we're going to see some light, are the dates at Nordstrom's, Everything But Water. I'm talking about my swimming pool, Nordstrom's, Everything But Water, and some other big accounts are looking at, that's a word I keep hearing. Bloomingdale's did reopen. Do you know Bloomingdale's opened the doors?
Yesterday?
Wow.
Yeah. Bloomingdale's opened the doors.
The one in Century City, our Bloomingdale's in Century City, or all Bloomingdale's?
No, I can't remember. It was one, I'll look it up. I can't remember if it was in, one did, but I thought that was very exciting. So, you know, like we're hearing, we're riding a roller coaster. We have ups and downs still. It hasn't smoothed out. I think I have been communicating, and I have enjoyed it. It's going to change, and it's going to change a lot and big time. And honestly, I think we did this to ourselves. I think, no, not the pandemic, not the coronavirus. The apparel industry, we're greedy. We overcut. We didn't care.
Absolutely.
We slaughtered
Well,
ourselves.
I mean, us for our business, because it's always been a hands-on, order-based domestic. I mean, I took 15 years ago, because we did 85% at one point of our production, 80% was China and 20 domestic. We always had our domestic production because if we needed to, if Neiman's needed to reorder 300 dresses in 11 days, we were able to do that. So we always printed the fabric in both locations because we were all about silk dresses, silk kimonos. And at the time when business was crazy good, when we were shipping $1 million a month, we needed to have a domestic business that was just as strong as our China reorder business, which took longer. But we walked away in 2009. I walked away from China. Both my husband and I were first generation immigrants. And we just said, screw that. We want to give back to this country. We want to produce in this country. We want to create jobs in this country. This country gave us an opportunity, both of us. We came here with nothing. We were able to, get education here. We were able to, thrive here, build our family. And we took a really strong stand, even detrimentally as it was to our bottom line and to probably our business overall, because that same silk dress that we produced in China for $24 LTP cost me $48 here. Exact same style. But we made a conscious decision back then.
I'm asking my factory. So one of the big accounts I'm working with, they're price-driven mass America brands, and I'm going to be able to hit the prices here. I don't know. They asked me, company, to start looking into U.S. manufacturing, so I'm doing that now. So like you said, it's going to be hard. But what I'm asking is for everybody that works with me, whether it's the guy, whether it's the manufacturer, everybody's got to change, not just me.
It has to start from retailers. It has to start from the top of the retailers. They have to stop being greedy. It has to start
merchandising and sales. Yes.
Right?
I think
it has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times the reason why all of us as designers, manufacturers, have had to resort to less expensive product, to less expensive fabrications, to less expensive sourcing of production, and to going to China and Vietnam and wherever it is people go to outsource their production, it's because we are, we know that if we don't deliver, let's say that swimsuit for $18 or $12, or if I don't deliver that blouse for $49 wholesale, somebody else next door will, and I'll be out of business. So whether I do it at a cost to my bottom line, or whether I do it as a resourceful, smart businessman and buy it from China for $8 and then resell it for $49, which a lot of people have been doing and thriving from doing that in the last 10 years or so. At this point, I think it's going to come from both ends. The consumer in US has to become more savvy, more
educated,
discerning, and more proud to buy from products that are made in USA. It's almost like we have to become patriotic. I know it's a silly thing to say when it comes to fashion, and fashion companies pride themselves on being much more democratic than patriotic. However, if we are to survive all of this, and if we are not to depend on China for everything that we have learned to come to depend on China for, starting with our medication and ending with everything else, we all have to collectively start to think differently.
Well, you know what I decided my big coming to this year was, because I work for a major brand. I do major big brands: Ralph Lauren, Gotcha, Massimo, Target, Forever, Ann Taylor. Here's my deal that happened to me in the last couple of months. When my company wanted to land the suits at $5, you know what I said to them? there's no design in a $5 suit. There's no room for me to design anything. And I said, it's over. You don't need a designer for a $5 suit.
Yeah, anyone can sketch that it.
Right?
That's really interesting. Kertu, I feel like you were chiming in with a question, but it got bumped over.
I don't remember.
What were you, I wanted to hear what you were saying, but.
I don't, I mean, I was just saying, I think there's going to be so many changes that, in some ways it's exciting, I think. Also, this is very, I'm listening very with curiosity because it's a different field. I've never worked with overseas factories except Italy, only in New York, and now working with downtown LA. Not at the moment, obviously everything's closed, but yes, I think it will be better for us in so many ways that we can work with local factories, local studios. So yeah, I think there will be also less production. Like we'll be more careful. We're not gonna overproduce and just make because it's just why not. But I think it's gonna help. It's gonna be good. And I also, what I've been reading a lot is that the whole, the seasons, it's going to change the calendar too. I think there'll be less collections to be made, and maybe each company is going to make their own deadlines rather than following the calendar as it's been, So I don't know. I'm excited.
I think it was.
What are you working on? What are you working on right now, Kertu? Are you doing makeup?
I'm working on, because so my company is so tiny. I make very small releases. There are no big collections. I had my own calendar. I don't follow necessarily a fashion calendar. And I sell direct to consumer online store. But because of the lockdown, I couldn't finish my small release for summer, but I'm able to finish some things, and I will launch it's a handful of pieces for summer by end of this month, beginning of June. And then I'm working already for something for fall, but these are just really, really tiny releases rather than just like little like a sample of something, because I never believed into these big collections, right? There's just so much. Every company is trying to please the same customer. I'm looking more of like the luxury market. But when you look at all these brands, they're all trying to satisfy the same customer. To offer them the same dress, and same blouse. And I think this is an opportunity for a lot of brands to rethink it, their identity, the needs. So, but yes, I'm working on a few things. You, Galina, I jumped right on that bandwagon of making masks. And in the beginning, I really made them to donate. And I donated to people in my neighborhood, people I knew, essential workers. I worked with the local hospital making gowns myself, as I don't have a team. And my studio, I work in art district in LA, they're closed. So I, set up a little place to sew, and I was making them. And then I got so many requests to sell masks, so I was okay, I'll put them on my website. So they're on a website too. And as I had scraps from things I've had in my collection, I was able to make some that matched something from my collection. So people were able to kind of, have that look of, to go with the dress that's the same, made out of the same fabric. And then I had a few special orders, some gentlemen that, lawyers, and they're like, I want something that fit, goes well with my suits and my shirts. And so I made some of those too.
Nice.
And as I'm so small, I'm able to do that. I do it myself. So I can make small quantities.
Great.
couture masks, I call them.
I can't make them. They're so beautiful. If you guys follow her on Instagram, it's so beautiful what you do. I can't even describe
What's your
it.
Instagram?
It's Reckless by Kertu. I put it in a chat.
Put it in the chat, the handle where you
Daniela, will you make sure you include all of our Instagram handles so we could all connect and follow each other?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So I wanted to, so first of all, I wanted to see if anybody, I kind of just didn't, I have like questions, but I also wanted to just kind of let this flow naturally. I was just curious if anybody either has a pain point of something they're immediately struggling with that you need some immediate help in, or you have like advice. So, and I feel like we kind of went through all that, but if there's something like that's like, on your brain right now that you're immediately dealing with, I want you to kind of like feel free to share it. And in the chat, drop your handles, whatever you could drop I have Reckless here. Feel free to drop your handles that you want people to follow, and I can connect you guys via email or put your contact info here.
I guess we're all.
So is it in the share? Where do you put it in the share?
If you click the button that says chat, you can drop it in. I think you're single. Well, you have a bunch of handles. You have single LA and ABK.
Yeah, but I don't see where I can share them.
It says
when you see.
That's weird. I don't see where I can share. But you know what, Daniela, if you want to do it like afterwards. Inga did this.
Yeah, so
Inga, you just did this.
Click on chat. There's a few chats.
I don't have a chat.
It's okay. You know what, Galina? I'm going to drop yours in. What's yours? Yours is single LA or single?
You could just do my personal one, at Galina Sobolov. And then add _Joyce. But the one that I answer is at Galina Sobolov. It's just my name, all one word.
Okay, I got it there. And then Anna, what is your handle for following you?
I can just put my email right now, just for communication.
Anna at swim.com.
Yeah. Cool. That's great.
But I just
Anna, do you do private label? I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you do private label swimwear small production runs for clients as well?
I do.
Or do you?
I do small. I do large. I'm doing my own. I've done it all, and but I do. You know what the thing is being in this business for so long. And I know many people want to help people out, but I just have a problem with working with people and not making sure they're successful. So many people want to get into this business. I hate to see people waste their money. So I really like to work with my clients to make sure they're set up. I've designed so many swimwear lines for people that didn't have the rest of their business figured out. We designed them.
Yes, they cannot sell yet. They're already investing in the collection. You need to figure out your sales channel. People go into this business, they don't even have a following on Instagram.
Scary. But it's a whole new world out there. But yes, I'm doing private label. I've done for Urban Outfitters, and currently I'm working on a client. I'm getting a collection together for a client that's ready to roll. They're opening up, and for myself, I'm going to put a small little collection because I've done so much mass swimwear. I can't stand it anymore. I want something amazing that fits, that feels good. And it's going to be made in the USA, and it's going to be better.
Absolutely. That's the best way to do it. And there's always a need for a great swimsuit. There's always a need for that.
I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited. I've been a little bit, like we all have been. Obviously, you jumped right into the pool, and obviously your energy, enthusiasm, her energy is just go-go. I absolutely love now knowing you, Galina, and having your energy be a part of my energy now.
I think it was more about having to pay 3 college tuitions, mortgage, and feeding my kids. That also is a lot of times drives us. We maybe have a little bit more freedom when we don't have the pressures of life. And the pressures of life sometimes are the best thing that drives us to think in the middle of the night of how to, you know, put your business into other wheels.
I love the kimono you have on. I didn't have a kimono to pull out of the closet, but if I had a kimono, I would have thrown it on.
We have a warehouse full of them. You're more than welcome to come over and grab anything you want.
That's probably a little,
really pretty.
that's probably a good thing to purchase right now, as we, you know, kind of are like going from Zoom meeting to kind of quick cover ups to looking great online. That's an interesting
Fabulous
twist also. I didn't mention this earlier. I didn't even think about it, but this is such brilliant conversations and ideas. My Zoom automatically records. Can I post this? Are you guys okay if I share this?
Absolutely. Share it. Share all of our websites, our handles. Inga will get finally 100 people to her website per day, not 10.
Everybody looks amazing, and I don't think we had a single swear word. So
No.
I think this is great.
We need fashion noise. You know, we need fashion noise, and to convey this idea of customer becoming savvy and screw China, we can do the founded. You know, all the thoughts that Galina, you know.
Oh, there's the curse word, Daniela. You're gonna have to edit that one.
Yeah.
Forget it. It's okay. But if you can listen to an hour and 10 minutes, now you're ready now you're fired up.
Yeah. I think it would be great, Daniela, because you have such a presence on LinkedIn also. Even if you could share or send us our individual links, how, let's say Anna was talking, because you're able to do this because it's your platform. I think it would be great to share all of this on LinkedIn with our fashion community, to share our experiences, our capabilities, and also how we are here to help each other. You know, it's almost like a start of something really great. And if you wanted to do this like weekly, we could invite other people. Let's say if we decide that we're going to do it every Monday or every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, you know, set a time. It's going to be great for all of us.
This is my thing. Like, I am all over, and I coach with this. I'm going to stop recording.
Now it's a difficult time, and everything, you know, you could go through, and, you know, as all of you guys know, with starting your own company, you could blow through $100,000 and to launch a line and get nothing back. Yeah. And, you know, my advice to all my friends that want to do it right now is to just buy Apple stock with it.
You think Apple's still on the move, not Zoom? I don't know.
Yeah, Apple's on the move. Apple and NVIDIA today.
I don't think the schools are prepared for this tragedy in fashion. I don't think they know how to teach this class.
Yeah.
They never.
But that's where we can come in, and we can contribute to the FIDMs and to the, you know, right here in downtown LA, I get a lot of interns from FIDM, from LA Trade Tech. I've got a lot of great kids, and one of my interns that's still working for me now, she's my assistant designer. She's great. And when she was my intern, I always told her, take additional Photoshop classes, take additional Illustrator classes. I guided her, and I couldn't live without her right now, you know. So it's how also the interns can transition into assistant designer positions from some of these schools, so we can help create jobs for these kids too.
Absolutely.
Such an interesting thought. When you originally said school, I was thinking like my daughter's preschool is on my mind. Like, are they wearing masks? Are 4-year-olds wearing masks? Do I need to make sure that all 50 of the people there are having masks? Like, what? And then I didn't even, you know, but fashion schools how are they going to teach? How are they going to prepare? What's the new normal? We're figuring it out. And I think we all thought this is only a short period of time, but we're thinking like, well, this is here to stay, and we want to get our life back. So you have to be safe.
Until there is a vaccine, people are not going to feel safe. And even with the vaccine, who knows? You know, I think this has been a big pullback. You know, unfortunately for all of us, we're very huggy people. Like, I mean, you know, this has been something that has benefited people that are loners and are antisocial more so than the people in countries where they're very social and very close knit, because those like Italy suffered so much, because I think a lot of it also has to do with the culture, because the people in the culture are very close and they talk close to each other, and that closeness in communication caused for them to become ill. So unfortunately, this is a horrible, horrible disease that is pushing people away from each other, which is a whole new normal. You know, we're not used to greeting each other 6 feet apart and being, okay, air hug, air kiss, you know, mwah, mwah, mwah. It's kind of feels ridiculous, but we're all adapting to this for the sake of our parent. I mean, I have an elderly father, I have an 80-year-old father. I have to think about his well-being, because I see him, I bring food to him, I don't, you know, so we all have to worry about all these other things that are not affect us directly or indirectly, but it's overall in the end affects all of us.
Absolutely.
So true.
But thank you, Daniela, for getting us all together. I think this is incredible. I think we all want to be connected. I've got to run to work. I've already got like 12 texts. And sell some masks. But I'm here, girls. I would love to connect with all of you, you know, like once a week if we want to do it, or once, whatever, however you want to set it up. I think it would be great. And I think also if you need us, for me, on my behalf, for sure, I'm available to mentor if you have any students or anybody who's starting, who wants to start up. I mean, I would suggest to pause, of course, at this time, you know, because with everything going on, but there's so much sourcing out there. There's so much out there that people don't know, and they spend a lot more money than they need to be spending. And Anna's absolutely right. She's helping her clients not to overspend, and that's what we can all do, is contribute to that.
I'm so excited to hear you say all of this, and I'm super excited to share your message and everyone's message with the world, because these are really, really strong points that you're all making. We're all in for something new. Everybody's being creative. So, and I think it's funny too, I'm like, you guys can all have your own little fashion school here too, between all the talent right here.
Well, I think we can all have some sort of a mentoring, you know, Zoom session for newcomers or people that are wanting to come in. We can at least, from different areas of the industry, give some sort of an advice from personal experience, which hopefully will be valuable to the next generation of designers.
It's very important to get on. You know, Danielle, it was so great that you made this call, but it's happening. People want to get back to work. People are questioning, talking. I think it's important for everybody to get together and just communicate and add point and value so people can get going again. Okay, so I'm on it. We're going to do this again next week, but what I would sidebar with you is trying to figure out a format of, you know, what is it that you need, because this is amazing to get together and like, okay, great. Now let's take it to the next step. This is what we did step one. Now we all met. Like what is it that we can really do to be valuable and productive as well? So, you know, I want to think about that to make sure that, you know, we're all getting a tremendous amount of value, and just like you said, like virtual hugs. I mean, those are so important. It's so great to see your faces. And everybody's on all different types of learning platforms, and everybody's sort of splintered. So it's really great to just kind of come together. Like Anna, I love that you share the 10 things that you've picked up in your various different places. And, you know, Kertu, how you're there sewing. I don't think that Inga mentioned this, but she's never been cooking so much. So she decided to make aprons out of those fabrics in the back behind her.
It's gonna be reminiscent of a dress, you know, it will have a front of a dress.
we all heard Galina, that's amazing. I can't, like overnight, you're like, I have a mortgage, I have 3 kids, we have a factory, masks.
That's it.
Now, 48 hours, we have a line around the world, sell.
Masks and robes, that's it. New collection.
It's amazing. I'm really amazing. So just to kind of wrap up, I'm going to share with you guys, I'm going to post a link. I'm going to send you guys the link to this. I don't know how to like splice and dice, but I'll just send you a link to all this so you guys can share it, because there are some really, really brilliant nuggets that have been shared during this time together. And then I'm going to write a story for it. We could talk about, you know, further get-togethers and so forth. And I'm just going to duck for a second, because this is, I I have a book coming out, and I'd love for 1 second, if you guys will indulge me, can I just show you the cover?
Yes.
I want you guys to show, I want to show you the cover. If I could pull it up quickly. Where is it? I got Canvas. I should have had this ready to go, but I didn't.
And Daniela definitely shared all of this on LinkedIn because I think it's really important. A lot of industry people are congregating on LinkedIn right now.
I know. It's really amazing to me how much people are craving things that they didn't crave before. That's probably the best way to say it. This is I have 2 options, and why is it not? There we go. So here's option 1.
I love that.
Why didn't it? There we go. What happened to my screen? Can you see it? Okay, so that's option 1. And that's like, I love it. And then I have a little bit also graffiti art that's a little bit more, where'd it go? Is that it? I have graffiti art. Here it is. Yeah, that's not it. I have another one. It's a little more sophisticated. Where'd it go? Oh, it's not page 2. There we go. This one. There we go.
Have you not chosen which one?
Oh, so I'm leaning towards this one, which is a little more sophisticated, but I really love that girl with the sunglasses, because isn't she like so California? So like, she's so California, sunshine.
I love the first one because it's very bold, but I see your idea that this is a little more savvy. And I love the little fashion sketch. I think if you're appealing to the more fashion startup crowd, this is probably the right way to go, even though the other one is very bold and very hot.
They're both right. These are like good choices to have.
Because that was exactly my reaction too.
Which one?
Kalina's like the first one was so like just catches your eye.
Yes.
But I like this one too. But the first
one.
What is this?
If you have a word of fashion,
The first one.
you need to have a piece of clothing, or at least one shoe. Yeah, number 3 for sure.
Number 3 being this one?
Yeah, it needs to have a piece of clothing. Some clothing, yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna have the girls. Well, thank you guys for your opinion.
Number 3 has 2 girls. Number 2 has 1 girl.
It's the one, it's like the street art with the girl with the sunglasses, or it's this one. I just have a bunch of, that was.
Go to the second.
I think this is very downtown LA. I mean, you can put the little fashion illustration in the left corner of this one. And it's very like bold and eye-catching.
Yeah. Red palm, like at least one shoe or a purse or something. Not a purse, one of those like waist bags or something. I don't know.
No. I play, but you know what? At the end of the day, like I was like, what's the most important thing? That you can read the title and that you have something beautiful on your coffee table.
Yeah. I love this with the glasses. Maybe you put the fashion girl on the left side of this one and go with this one because it's so bold.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I tried it. I thought it looked really silly. You liked it? I thought I was like trying to mix.
Or maybe put her on instead of on the eye, put her on the upper right corner. Flip her. Can you flip her and put her on the upper right corner? Because the eye travels to the right.
Yes. And the little girl in red, it has to be on your bottom left.
Well, I will play with it later.
Anyway, you'll play with it. The first one, that one is definitely a very bold, eye-catching one, for sure. And I love the graffiti. Do you have the copyright to the graffiti art?
Yes. I mean, I do. How do I get it?
Just be careful because, you don't want some artist to come out of the blue and slap a lawsuit on you. These things have happened before. I always think about covering your butt.
I totally agree. And then it's kind of one of those things where I think about like, these are kind of good problems to have. Like if the book sells enough copies that the original owner finds it, yes, I'm a success.
Yes. All right, girls, I'm sending you lots of love and great vibes. Inga, love you, miss you.
Love you.
And it was a pleasure meeting you, ladies. Anna, it was a pleasure meeting you, everybody. Let's stay connected. Daniela, thank you so much.
I'm
Thank
glad
you
you
so
guys
much
enjoyed
for
this.
organizing us. I think it's great. I think it's a great way for all of us to connect.
You got it. It was Kertu who we were talking last week, and it was like her idea. She's like, I'd love to meet other designers. I'm like, really? Well, sure, let's try it.
Kertu, pleasure to meet you. Ciao, Bella.
You guys, thank you very much. I will get you the link, and I will connect you guys. I see everybody's dropped their handle here. So, and let me know how I can continue to help you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Daniela. You're amazing.
Have a good day.
That's my soundbite.
Have a good day, everybody.
Today's the 19th. My meeting is saved.